Revealed. The incredible homeless girl who transforms hearts with her amazing piano talent. In the vibrant heart of Chicago, where dreams and despair collide, a remarkable story unfolds. 16-year-old Emma, a once celebrated pianist, now found herself tangled in the shadows of a city that never sleeps. She lived in a shelter, her world reduced to cramped quarters and echoes of past laughter. Yet, amidst the harsh realities of life on the streets, there was still an ember of hope flickering within her. It danced brightly whenever her fingers grazed the worn keys of a dilapidated upright piano she had unearthed from a dark alley, a forgotten relic that now pulsed with the rhythms of her heart. With each note, Emma poured her soul into the piano, a vessel for her unspoken words. The haunting melodies floated through the air like whispers, wrapping around passersby, compelling them to pause. Strangers would stop, their brows furrowed, their hearts softening under the raw emotion she conjured from the keys. Emma's talent turned pity into admiration, yet the shadows of her past clung stubbornly to her heels, whispering doubts with every note. She'd been a star student, but when her mother fell ill, the thread of stability unraveled. Empty pockets and fractured dreams left her alone in a shelter, grappling with the stigma of homelessness. Just another statistic, people would say, casting her glimpses laced with prejudice, unable to see the girl underneath the tattered clothes. What little faith Emma had left flickered like a candle in the wind, each judgment a stab in her already wounded heart. In these moments, she sought solace from Mr. Thompson, a grizzled cafe owner and veteran. He understood pain, having lived it himself, and they bonded over music. Together, they hatched a plan for a community talent show, a chance for Emma to share her gift and transform herself from invisible to invincible. But uncertainty followed them like a persistent shadow. Whispers swept through the neighborhood, could a homeless girl truly inspire? When a key donor pulled out, saying they couldn't support that kind of project, despair lurked just a heartbeat away. Emma felt swallowed by shame, the weight unbearable. Where she once sought joy at the piano, now it felt like a cruel reminder of everything lost. Heart pounding, she returned to her keys. With every note, the music transformed frustration into resilience. Her fingers fluttered, weaving a melody full of yearning and anger, echoing in the still air. Just as her spirit began to rise, a knock shattered her moment of clarity. Standing in the doorway was a ghost from her past, her father. She felt like she'd been punched in the gut. The man who abandoned them when times got tough now returned, drawn by whispers of his daughter's talent. Hope warred with anger within her. Could she forgive him? Could she accept the person who had turned his back when they needed him most? As she stood before the piano, wrestling with her emotions, the old keys awaited, filled with unsung stories and unplayed dreams. Emma's future hung in the balance, the echoes of her past colliding with a flicker of hope, leaving readers yearning to discover if she could embrace her music and possibly her family against all odds. Emma's heart raced as she stared at her father, memories flooding her mind like a cracked dam. She wanted to scream, to tell him how betrayed she felt. How could he show up now after all this time? The pain in her chest twisted and coiled as she fought to process his presence. "Dad?" The word slipped out, tentative and shaky. "Emma," he replied, his voice thick and heavy. "I came to find you." He looked worn, eyes sunken and weary, but there was a flicker of sincerity there. It stirred a chaotic mix of hope and resentment in Emma. She could see he still cared beneath the layers of shame and guilt. But could she let him back into her heart? "I'm tired of waiting," she found herself saying, the piano keys itching to absorb her frustration. Why now? Why not when Mom was sick? Or when everything fell apart? Each question felt like a blow, but deep down, part of her craved an answer. He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck, a fidgety gesture that reminded her of childhood days when everything felt safe. "I messed up, Em. I was scared. I thought if I left, you'd have a better life." "Better life?" Emma snapped, shaking her head, her fingers tightening on the piano. "Look at me. You don't even know me anymore." Just then, a couple of kids from the shelter peeked in, their curiosity piqued by the commotion. She felt their eyes on her, felt the weight of their unspoken judgment. Her father lowered his voice, glancing at the intruders. I'm not asking for a second chance. I just want to help. I don't need your help. She cut him off, the burn of sadness rising. Emma took a deep breath, fingers hovering above the piano keys, desperate to regain control. But all of it anger, pain, longing spilled out as she played. Fingers moving like lightning above the keys, her heart poured into the music. It was raw, swirling with all the emotions she wasn't able to voice. The haunting melody echoed off the walls, wrapping around her father like a blanket of regret. Each note dripped with the history they shared, a testament to all that was lost, yet somehow still so full. As her playing swelled, a soft hush enveloped them. The children watched with open mouths, wide-eyed, as the music captured their attention. She glanced at her father. For the first time, he looked vulnerable, almost broken, as though he were hearing her pain in a way he never had before. It stirred something in her. Emma stopped abruptly, the last note hanging in the air. This is who I am, Dad. I can't keep pretending it doesn't hurt. I'm terrified every day that I won't ever be anything other than that homeless girl. For a moment, silence wrapped around them, thick and heavy like fog. Then he stepped closer, taking a tentative breath. I get it, and I want to help you change that. I promise I can make things right. Emma stared at him, her heart a tug-of-war between hope and doubt. Could she really trust him again? Just then, Mr. Thompson entered the room, his face a mix of concern and curiosity. Emma, you have to see this, he said breathlessly, waving his phone. People are talking about the talent show. Your name is spreading. Hope surged in Emma's chest, a spark flickering to life. Her father watching, uncertainly, eyes filled with something resembling faith. But with that spark, fear prickled at the edges. She could see the path forward, but would she dare to walk it with or without him by her side? Was this the moment that could change everything? The question echoed in her mind, an unsung chorus waiting to be played. As she took a deep breath and sat up a little straighter, would she step into the light of possibility or retreat back to the darkness she knew? Emma's heart thudded in her chest as Mr. Thompson's words sunk in. The talent show. It had always been a distant dream, something she had quietly hoped to embrace, yet never really believed she could. The dread of failure loomed over her now like a shadow, but the flicker of hope ignited a fire within. People are talking about you? What people? She asked, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and disbelief. She turned to her father, searching his eyes for any hint of encouragement, any spark of belief that maybe, just maybe, he would support her. Kids from the shelter, and folks from the community, Mr. Thompson said, scrolling quickly through his phone. They've heard you're playing, Emma. The spreading. You've got talent and they want to see you perform. Her fingers subconsciously brushed over the piano keys once more, imagining the crowd, the lights, the music flowing out of her like a lifeline. But the memory of what accompanied that dream, the hurt, the feelings of being let down made her hesitate. What if I fail? She whispered, almost to herself. The words hung in the air, a heavy confession that echoed in the silence. Her father stepped closer, his face earnest. Listen, I don't know much about being a good dad. But what I do know is that you shouldn't be afraid to show the world what you can do. You have a gift. Let it shine. Emma's heart twisted at his words. The very man who had abandoned her now stood advocating for her. Was he sincere? Or was it just more broken promises? Why are you really here, Dad? She asked, leaning forward. The pain of her past clashed with the curiosity of a possible future. Do you really want to help? Or is this just a way to ease your own guilt? His gaze faltered, but then resolved. I want to be a part of your life, Emma. I want a chance to be there for you, to support any way I can. The sincerity in his voice was a raw wound still fresh, but the chance for reconciliation hung in the balance. After a moment, Emma looked at Mr. Thompson, who was still glued to his phone. What do I do? Am I ready for this? A talent show, what if? He interrupted her thoughts, snapping his phone shut. You prepare. You pour your heart into that music like you did just now. That's what you do. The rest will follow. As she sat there, Emma felt a swell of gratitude for Mr. Thompson. In her world filled with uncertainties, he was a guiding force. But could she let her father back into her life? Could she trust him enough to let him be a part of her successes? Emma took a deep breath, her mind racing. The music was still there, calling her to blend her emotions into something beautiful. She turned back to her father. "If I do this, you have to promise to stay. No more disappearing acts." He nodded, his expression earnest. "Promise, Em. As long as you're willing to take this chance, I'll be right there." The weight of those words settled into her heart, warming frozen corners she thought might never feel light again. Maybe this was her moment, the chance to transform the past into something new, something beautiful. But then, an unexpected voice broke through her reverie, the hushed excitement of the children still lingering at the door, leaning in closer, eager to witness something extraordinary. Emma's fingers began to dance over the piano keys once more, crafting a melody that blended her hope, her fear, and her burgeoning courage. As the notes cascaded into the air, a familiar weight of anxiety surged. But then, it was overpowered by resilience. With her heart pounding in rhythm with the music, Emma closed her eyes, imagining a crowd, their faces lit with wonder, and for the first time, she dared to believe. What if she really could make this a moment that changed everything? With each note, the answer began to form, a new chapter waiting to be written. But just as she began to lose herself in the melody, the door creaked open wider, revealing someone unexpected. "Emma." It was Rachel, her old friend from school. "I heard about the talent show. I came to see you." The music faltered for a split second as surprise stung her heart. Could this be the support she needed or another test of her resolve? Emma opened her eyes, the melody fading. And in that vulnerable moment, she realized, just as she was about to face her biggest challenge, everything was about to change again. Would it be for better or worse? Emma's breath hitched, and she searched Rachel's face for answers. What awaited her now? Emma blinked, trying to process Rachel's sudden appearance. Her heart raced. This was the friend who had once shared her dreams, the laughter they de-spun together in their small world. Now all those memories flooded back, mixed with a new wave of fear. What would Rachel think of her now? "Emma, I can't believe it," Rachel exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she stepped into the room. "I heard the news from Mia at the shelter. You're entering the talent show? That's incredible." Emma swallowed hard, grateful for Rachel's enthusiasm, but the burden of her reality clenched tightly around her throat. "Yeah, I guess I am," she managed to say, her voice a whisper. "What are you going to perform?" Rachel asked, bouncing on the balls of her feet as if the energy could launch her into the air. Emma stared at the piano. For years, it had been her sanctuary. I'm not sure yet. I just started thinking about it all," she said, feeling a mixture of vulnerability and longing. Rachel stepped closer, her gaze steady and reassuring. "Emma, you should go for it. You've always had magic in your fingers. Remember that time we played together at the old community center? Everyone loved it. You can totally do this." The memory warmed Emma's heart, but unease twisted in her gut. That was different. Back then, no one knew what was really happening in my life. "Exactly. You've been through so much, and you're still here, shining bright. You can show everyone how far you've come." Rachel's tone was fierce, filled with the certainty that Emma yearned for. Just then, a small figure squeezed between the door and the wall. Jaden, one of the younger kids from the shelter, peeked in. "Are you really going to play in the talent show, Emma?" he asked, his wide eyes filled with a mix of awe and hope. Emma smiled gently at him. "I think so, but I'm still figuring things out. Can I come and cheer for you?" Jaden asked, his small voice earnest. "I'd love to see you play. You're the best." The sweet innocence in his request struck a chord deep within Emma. Here was someone who truly believed in her. Maybe it was time to believe too. "Of course you can come, Jaden," Emma said, her voice firmer now, buoyed by their encouragement. "I want everyone there. I want all of you to be part of it." Rachel grinned, and even Mr. Thompson, still in the room, nodded approvingly. "That's the spirit. The more The merrier, he said. As Emma looked around at their bright faces, a flicker of courage brightened her heart, momentarily chasing away the shadows. But what if she stumbled? What if she failed to impress the crowd? Rachel must have sensed the doubt drifting back in because she squeezed Emma's shoulder as if to ground her. You've got this, Em. We all believe in you. And even if it's scary, isn't it also exciting? The chance to show everyone what you can do? Emma took a deep breath. The prospect of unveiling herself, the music intertwining with her life story, was both daunting and exhilarating. She needed this. She needed to be seen. But just as her pulse started to resume a steady rhythm, the moment shifted again. A quick glance at Rachel revealed concern mixed with excitement. Listen, let us get you practicing. I can help. We'll figure out what to play together. Emma nodded, and soon they huddled around the piano. Emma's fingers danced over the keys as Rachel hummed a few melodies, weaving their memories into new arrangements while Jaden clapped along. Yet, even as the music began to flow again, the nagging thought remained. Could she truly bare her heart on that stage? With practice sessions ahead, would she unlock the courage to perform her truth? As her fingers played, the reality of the talent show loomed larger. This moment could change everything. But would she be ready when the time came to shine? Emma felt her heart race with anticipation. Before long, Rachel's phone buzzed with notifications. I have to check this, she said, looking down at the screen. But let us meet later to work on the song. You and I have to brainstorm something special. Emma nodded, energy pulsing through her as she watched Rachel scroll through her messages. But just as Rachel's smile broadened, the sparkle dimmed a touch. Oh no, Emma, it's from Mia about the talent show. There's something happening. Emma's stomach dropped, and she held her breath, waiting for Rachel to continue. What news awaited her now? Would it send her journey spiraling in a new direction? Or could it be yet another reason not to trust in her dreams again? Emma felt the weight of Rachel's words like a stone in her gut. What does it say? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Rachel's eyes scanned the message, brows furrowing. It seems Mia is saying the shelter is facing some financial issues. They might not even be able to host the talent show like planned. The news hit Emma like a punch. The thrill of possibility evaporated, replaced by a sinking dread. No, that can't be, she stammered, her heart pounding furiously in her chest. They've invested so much time, so much hope. Rachel continued reading, her expression turning somber. There's a meeting tonight to discuss everything. They need to figure out how to keep the program running. Emma felt a rush of emotions. This wasn't just about her anymore. What if the show is cancelled? What if I can't share my music? For now, let us not jump to conclusions, Rachel said, her voice steady. We need to be there tonight. You never know. If we show up and share our passion, it might just inspire them. Emma took a deep breath, her thoughts whirling. But what if it doesn't? What if they decide it's just too hard? That we aren't worth the trouble? Rachel grabbed her hands, grounding Emma in the moment. You're worth every bit of trouble. And so is this talent show. People need to see what you can do. You have a gift. As she inhaled sharply, Emma looked at Rachel, who was soaking up the light of their shared memories. All the afternoons spent laughing and dreaming about their futures. The music they created, it all flickered in her mind. Okay, Emma finally said, her voice shivering with determination. We'll go to the meeting. I'll play, maybe that will show them how important this all has been. Jaden's eager voice piped up, interrupting the heaviness. Can I come too? I want to cheer. I know it will be awesome. Emma's heart melted at his enthusiasm. Of course, Jaden. You're part of this too. She needed to believe. If the show mattered to him, it should matter to her as well. As the hour approached, nerves bubbled in her stomach. Rachel squeezed Emma's shoulder again for encouragement. Think of all the times we played together. Just do that, okay? Play like you always have. They made their way to the shelter, each step echoing the beating of Emma's heart. The evening air felt thick with uncertainty, yet something flickered inside her, a hint of hope. Once they reached the shelter, Emma noticed the usual buzz replaced by hushed whispers. People gathered in clusters, worry etched on their faces. Mr. Thompson stood at the front, attempting to hold it together, even as he glanced at the dwindling hope in everyone's eyes. "All right, everyone," he began, his voice husky. "Let us talk about what we can do." In a corner, a small group of kids shared hushed conversations, their eyes darting between the adults and Emma. She caught sight of Jaden, and the fire in his gaze fueled her resolve. Taking a deep breath, Emma approached the front with Rachel at her side. "I want to say something." They all turned, surprise mixing with curiosity. "Emma!" Mr. Thompson exclaimed, relief washing over his features. "What do you have in mind?" Emma squared her shoulders, her hands trembling. "We can't let this stop us. The talent show means everything. Let us not throw away our dreams. I want to perform for all of us. I want to show everyone what we can do." Wrapped in silence, their eyes widened, each person weighing the weight of Emma's words. Just then, a familiar hush filled the room, the heaviness becoming a bridge of emotion. "Do you think we can still have it?" One voice called out from the back, tender and questioning. Emma felt her heart swell. "Yes, we can fight for our dreams. If we come together, maybe we can keep our hopes alive." The mood began to shift, whispers transforming into voices of agreement. But just as cheers started to ripple through the crowd, a loud crash echoed from the back, freezing everyone in place. "What was that?" Rachel gasped, eyes wide as she turned toward the noise. Emma's pulse raced. What was happening now? Would this night be the end of everything they had built, or a turning point she had never imagined? In that moment, uncertainty wrapped around her like a blanket, but deep down, the spark of hope flickered still. She needed to find out. The crash echoed ominously, cutting through the air like a knife. Emma felt her palms go clammy as she glanced towards the back of the room. A commotion erupted, muffled voices rising in alarm. "Stay here," Rachel urged, her voice barely containing her own anxiety. Emma nodded, but instinct pulled her closer. She edged towards the source, heart racing. Was it just clumsiness, or something worse? As she reached the back wall, the scene unfolded. A few kids had knocked over a stack of empty chairs amid their frantic chatter. Laughter broke through the confusion, easing some of the tension. That's when Emma saw Mia stepping forward, her face flushed but determined as she called for silence. "Everyone, please, let us not lose focus. It's not the time to panic." Emma felt a rush of gratitude. Mia had always embodied strength, and tonight, it was shining through her resolve. Emma's own heart began to settle, feeling the threads of connection reweaving among the crowd. "I know we're scared," Mia continued, "but we need to find a solution together. Remember why we started this. For our dreams, for our community." Emma wanted to jump in, to shout that Mia was right, that they had come too far to let fear win. But instead, she remained quietly at the edge, absorbing the moment. As Mia's voice resonated through the room, the group seemed to draw closer. Voices united in murmurs of agreement. Echoes of "we can do this" arose, lifting Emma's spirits. "Can I play?" Jaden's enthusiastic voice pierced the air, innocent and full of confidence. Everybody smiled, and Emma felt a warmth envelop her. He was right, his joy was contagious. "Absolutely. We'll need everyone to help," Mia encouraged, embracing Jaden's spirit. "Let us kickstart the rally. Maybe a mini concert right here as we brainstorm ideas." Several kids cheered, and Emma's heart swelled again, seeing how his simple suggestion breathed life back into the gathering. She stepped forward, feeling the courage wash over her. "I can play," Emma said, her voice steady and clear. "If we perform together, we will show everyone just how incredible our community is." We won't let the shelter fall. The crowd stirred with excitement. Chairs squeaked as people adjusted themselves, making way for Emma. Rachel nudged her shoulder, eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Go for it, Em." Stepping up, Emma took a deep breath. The piano sat in the corner like a portal to another world, her world. She brushed her fingers over the keys, feeling their cool surface. As her fingers danced, The familiar notes wrapped around her like a warm hug, soothing her nerves. The music flowed, and the room began to settle further, drawn into her song. Eyes glimmered with tears and smiles. She could hear the murmurs of appreciation as she played. Each note was a plea, every chord a promise. She played for the shelter, she played for families, and she played for everyone who had ever felt hopeless. When the song finished, silence enveloped the room. Then, slowly, applause erupted, building into a cacophony of support. Joy blossomed on Emma's face as she glanced around, invigorated by their energy. "Mia, can you get the others?" Rachel called out over the noise, determined to keep the momentum alive. "Let us make this the best night." But even as the room filled with excitement once again, a shadow lingered in Emma's mind. Would they genuinely be able to pull together and save the shelter? The atmosphere crackled with hope, yet uncertainty still clung to the edges. Emma felt another crash of worry, a sort of heaviness. She had shared a piece of her heart tonight, but would it be enough to save them all? As the groups formed, planning and brainstorming, the energy shifted towards action. People rushed to speak, everyone driven by shared dreams. But just when Emma began to breathe with a hint of relief, an unexpected figure pushed through the crowd, a tall man, face serious. His sharp gaze swept over the room. "I'm sorry to interrupt," he said, his voice low and commanding. "But I have news about the shelter." Emma's heart stopped. What could he possibly say? Was this a message of hope, or another blow to everything they had just started to rebuild? Hearts held breath, waiting for the truth to reveal itself. The man's presence seemed to suck the air from the room. Emma felt her pulse pound in her ears, drowning out the murmurs of anticipation. She could see glances exchanged, fear, curiosity, and a wavering hope. "We can help our community, right?" Mia's voice pierced the tension, echoing against the walls like a lifeline. "What do you have to share with us?" The man shifted his weight, still steady but seemingly weighing the gravity of his words. "My name is Marcus." He scanned the crowd, stopping on Emma for a moment. "I'm here from the city council. There have been rumors about the shelter, rumors that it might be closing soon. We need to make some decisions, and I want to hear what you all have to say." A heavy silence settled in, muffling even the smallest sounds. Everyone seemed to be holding their breath, processing how his words felt like both a warning and a chance. Emma's heart dropped to her stomach. This was it, they were fighting against a real threat. But Mia, ever the beacon of strength, took a step forward. "That's why we're here tonight. We want to fight for our shelter, for our families and our dreams." The energy of her words sparked something in the crowd. Emma felt the pulse of determination rise as others began to murmur agreements. "Yes, we won't give up." Suddenly, Jaden piped up, his little face earnest. "Can we show you how good we are? We're gonna do a concert. It'll make everyone want to help." Emma couldn't help but smile at the raw enthusiasm. It was contagious. The crowd erupted into cheers, the fear momentarily forgotten. "Exactly," Rachel shouted, throwing her hands up. "If we show how amazing this place is, how amazing we are, maybe we can change their minds. Marcus, we can organize events, raise awareness, bring in volunteers. Will you help us?" Marcus was visibly taken aback by the wave of energy. He raised an eyebrow, impressed but still skeptical. "Events take time to organize, and we don't have much of that. If the shelter is in danger..." Emma felt a flutter of frustration. She glanced at Mia, who nodded in support. "Then we need to start now. Let us gather everyone and brainstorm ideas. Please, Marcus, help us get the word out." The weight of the room shifted. Marcus's gaze softened as he saw the flicker of hope. "All right, I'll see what I can do," he replied, his tone lighter. "But you'll need to lead the charge. If you make this concert happen, I will make sure to bring in the people who need to hear your voices." A wave of excitement rushed through Emma, igniting something deep within her. "We can do this, everyone. Let us take action." The crowd erupted, a roar of determination and energy as kids began to group, tossing ideas back and forth, decorations, songs, posters. Emma felt an electrifying surge of purpose as she joined in. But as the ideas flew, Another thought nagged at Emma: what if they failed? What if their best efforts were not enough, even with the new ally at their side? The weight returned, this time heavier. Would they truly have the strength to pull off something monumental? Could they really save the shelter? As she pushed these fears aside, she focused on the pulse of the crowd, their laughter and excitement filling the room. This was a chance, and she was going to grasp it with both hands. Just then, Rachel turned towards Emma, her expression serious. "This is it, Em. We need you to guide us with your music. You lit a fire in us tonight. What's next?" Emma's heart raced at the challenge. She drew in a deep breath and met her friend's determined gazes. "Let us make this a night that nobody forgets. Let us fight for every dream, for every person who needs us." But even as they gathered their plans, an unsettling thought lingered. If they didn't succeed, what would become of them all? Emma felt a flicker of doubt, but it quickly dissipated amidst the raw courage bubbling in the room. Let us get to work. Yet, somewhere outside the rally, a storm was brewing, one that threatened everything they hoped to accomplish. And as night fell, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that challenges were only beginning. What awaited them beyond the gathering shadows? As the night deepened, the room buzzed with excitement. Emma stood at the center, the pulse of the gathering throbbing in her veins. Together, they were mapping out a plan, transforming whispers of hope into concrete ideas. Felt electric. "Okay, everyone, we need a theme for the concert. Something that showcases our strength and unity." Emma called out, her voice cutting through the frenzy. "We should call it Hearts United." Chorus rang out. It was Mia. A night to show how we can come together, no matter who we are. Yeah. We can have different acts. Dance, poetry, and of course musical performances. Jaden added, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. "Count me in for the poster designs." Rachel chimed in, pumping her fists. Emma felt warmth flood her chest. They were not just talking, they were creating. As each of them threw in ideas, the momentum built. They could be a beacon for the community, a shining example of resilience. But, drifting amidst the chatter, doubt lingered in Emma's mind. What if their concert wasn't enough? What if no one showed up? How would they feel then? She shook off the fear, reminding herself they had people like Marcus who were willing to help guide them. Let us break into groups. We can assign tasks and stay organized, she suggested, silencing her worries with determination. Groups formed quickly, and Emma took charge of the music committee. The sound of her own voice was like an anchor, grounding her in this moment of potential. She could feel the familiar flutter in her stomach. It was both thrilling and terrifying, the sensation of stepping onto the stage. Just like she did whenever she played the piano. As she practiced in her head, she felt a rush of clarity. It was her music that could uplift the crowd and rally their spirits. Dreams, hopes, and fears could all blend into a symphony. Her fingers itched to dance over the keys, eager for the chance to transform feelings into melodies. For the next hour, they worked tirelessly. Laughter filled the space, echoing the heartbeats of hope. But as excitement surged, Emma also felt heaviness creeping back in. When they paused for a moment, she was surprised to find Marcus standing at the edge of the group, watching them intently. "Listen," he finally said, his voice cutting through the buoyant atmosphere. "I want to warn you, the reality of the shelter's situation is serious. There's been talk of a city council meeting next week to decide fates." A collective hush fell over the group. Emma's heart sank. She could see the worry flicker in their eyes. This wasn't just a concert anymore. It was a race against time. "We don't have much time," Emma said, her heart thumping. "We need to double our efforts. If we can get people to understand how much the shelter means to us, we can change things." Sparked by her passion, they nodded, recommitting themselves. The energy reignited, but Emma could still feel a storm brewing in her heart. "That's the spirit," Marcus encouraged. "But remember, it's not just about the music. It's about the message behind it. Make sure it speaks to the hearts of everyone who listens." As they went back to planning, 1,000 thoughts raced through Emma's mind. Could their music really make a difference? When would the story of their shelter reach the ears of those who could help? Then, almost instinctively, she realized they needed something bigger, a way to share their mission beyond just their community. We should stream the concert online. People far and wide can tune in and help us spread the message. The idea caught fire. They circled back into their brainstorming session with renewed determination. Emma felt a spark ignite within her, but it was still tempered by a gnawing concern. What if they poured every ounce of effort into this and it still wasn't enough? In moments of quiet between laughter and song, doubt echoed back. As the night deepened and their plans solidified, Emma gazed out the window. The shadows lengthened outside, but she could also see stars beginning to twinkle. Could there be a light beyond the struggle? Just then, an unexpected rumble of thunder shook the air. The dark clouds hung heavy in the sky, mirroring Emma's growing anxiety. A storm was coming, and not just outside. With a deep breath, she turned to her friends. Okay everyone, we've got our work cut out for us. Let us show the world what we can do. But will it be enough? And as if to answer, lightning illuminated the room for a split second, a flare of power against the uncertainty. Emma knew that beyond those gathering shadows, reality awaited them, a truth they would soon have to face. Would they rise or fall in the storm that was fast approaching? The next morning felt heavy in the aftermath of the storm. Emma awoke to the sound of rain drumming lightly against her window. It was as if the world outside was mirroring the turbulence in her heart. She sat up slowly, thoughts swirling around her like the clouds that lingered outside. Get it together, she whispered to herself, grounding herself in the quiet of her room. She couldn't let the weight of uncertainty crush her spirit. Today was about action, and she needed to be the first to step forward. After a hasty breakfast, Emma grabbed her notebook and jotted down the tasks they had divided the night before. Each point felt like a tiny spark, ideas that could ignite into larger flames of hope. She flipped the page to sketch out a rough plan for the concert. Everything must be vibrant, but more importantly, it had to be meaningful. Each performance would echo the voices of those who were silenced and forgotten. The afternoon sun dared to peek through the clouds as Emma made her way to the community center, heart racing with purpose. She arrived to find the space buzzing with activity. Laughter and chatter resonated as people set up their stations, each corner alive with creativity. Emma, Mia waved excitedly, her arms full of colorful fabric for a backdrop. Look at this. I thought we'd make something bold and bright. Emma's heart swelled. Yes, that's perfect. It needs to reflect who we are, full of life, like the music we're going to share. As the day wore on, Emma flitted from group to group, buoyed by the infectious energy. She visited the poetry committee where Lisa recited lines filled with raw emotion, and her heart swayed with each word. She moved to the dance group, where bodies moved freely, embodying the spirit of strength and resilience. But amid the whirlwind of excitement, a knot tightened in Emma's stomach with each fleeting thought about the shelter. Their success depended on spreading the word far and wide. They were up against a city council meeting just days away, and she couldn't shake the feeling that time was slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. In a quiet moment, Emma slipped into a corner of the hall where her piano stood untouched. She stared at it for a moment, letting the urgency wash over her, feeding into her trembling fingers. Taking a deep breath, she let her emotions flow into the music. Each note seemed to bear her worries, hopes, and the stories of the people they were fighting for. A small crowd gathered, drawn by the melody. It was comforting, like a warm hug on a chilly day. And with every chord, she felt her anxieties dissipate. Wow, Emma, Jaden breathed, breaking the spell. You've got to play during the concert. That was incredible. Emma blushed, pulling her hands away. I don't know. The concert is about everyone. Exactly. And we all want to hear you, he insisted. It'll touch hearts. That's what we need. She pondered, uncertainty lingering. Could her music really convey the message they needed? Would it resonate with their intended audience? As the gathering began to disperse after a long day, Emma lingered behind, engrossed in thoughts. She wanted to shout the message loud and clear, but what if it fell flat? Just then, a familiar voice broke her reverie. Hey, Marcus walked up to her, his expression serious yet kind. "I've been hearing about what you're all planning. You know, it's brave of you to take this on." "Thanks, Marcus," she replied, a flicker of hope igniting. "But is it really enough? What if it doesn't change anything? What if you'll never know unless you try?" he interjected gently yet firmly. "Sometimes, just one song or one word can turn the tide." Emma nodded, heart racing again. She could feel the weight of those words washing over her, mingling with her lingering doubts. "Maybe you're right. We have to give it everything we've got. Because if we don't, then we'll never know what could been," he completed, his eyes glimmering with encouragement. The conversation ignited something within her. What if she infused her music with the voices of the community? What if, through her performance, she could weave together their stories, make the audience feel the urgency that weighed upon them? As she walked home under the now clear sky, a newfound sense of purpose bloomed within her. But as she glanced up, she noticed dark clouds looming once more in the distance, threatening with the possibility of another storm. What were they up against, really? And could music truly drown out the thunder? With that looming uncertainty, Emma felt a powerful resolve building inside her. Tomorrow, she would ready herself to embrace the storm head-on. But would their voices be enough to be heard above the chaos? The day of the talent show dawned bright and clear, yet Emma's heart felt heavy, a storm brewing beneath her skin. She squeezed her hands together, tracing her fingers over the cool keys of the old piano, its surface smooth and familiar. Today would be the culmination of everything, a chance to share her journey, her pain, her music that breathed life into dreams once thought lost. As the sun climbed higher, Emma stepped out, breathing in the crisp morning air that hung thick with hope. The shelter was buzzing with activity. Kids were busy decorating, their laughter mingling with the chatter of volunteers. Bright streamers adorned the walls, and hand-drawn posters boasted the night's theme, Hearts United. Emma felt a flicker of warmth swell within her. This was not just her show. It was all of theirs. She wandered through the crowd, feeling the positive energy vibrate around her. Mia was bustling about, gathering last-minute supplies, while Rachel helped Jaden tie colorful balloons. "It's all coming together," Rachel exclaimed, her smile infectious. "Yeah, feels like a whole new world," Emma replied, her own spirits lifting. But in the back of her mind, doubts clawed at her. What if no one came? What if they didn't care? Amidst the preparations, Marcus approached her, his usual calm demeanor offering reassurance. "You've done a great job bringing everyone together, Emma. Remember, every single person here wants to see you shine. You've already made a difference." That sparked a flame of determination, and warmth surged through her. If her music could touch even one heart, then it was worth sharing the stage. She nodded, drawing strength from his words. As night began to fall, families started trickling into the shelter, filling the space with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Emma's heartbeat quickened, echoing in her ears. She watched twin shadows dart across the stage, her friends exchanging glances of elation and nervousness. The energy of the crowd swelled, and soon they filled the room, laughter mingling with anxious whispers. Emma felt the heat of their anticipation, a flame igniting her own fears and hopes. Then, the MC, Mr. Thompson, took the stage, his voice rich with admiration. "Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we celebrate the heart and spirit of our community, and one extraordinary girl who will breathe life into this event. Please help me welcome Emma." The applause thundered, reverberating through her very bones as she walked on stage. Every eye was on her, the world narrowed to a spotlight glowing just for her. She felt the weight of her past brush against her, but she pushed it aside. This was her moment. Taking a deep breath, Emma's fingers danced across the keys, and the melody poured out distinctly hers. It was raw, filled with notes of hope mixed with threads of vulnerability. Each key felt like an intimate conversation with the audience as she played for everyone who believed in her, everyone who had faced shadows like hers. The room drained into silence, and amidst the notes, Emma glimpsed a miracle real connections forming, hearts unfurling. She saw tears in the eyes of children, their mouths agape with wonder. In that moment, Nothing else mattered, only the music, that beautiful, unifying language echoing amongst them as she finished. The room erupted into cheers and applause that shook the very walls. Jaden was clapping wildly, eyes sparkling, while Rachel beamed, lifting her hands in triumph. Emma soaked it all in, her heart swelling with joy. She had shared her voice, woven her pain into something that could be felt. Just then, Marcus stepped up, his face serious but soft. "Emma, your music tonight has reached all of us. Thank you for showing us that our voices matter. Your dreams matter." A buzz of agreement rippled through the room, filling every shadow with light. Emma felt like she was glowing, her doubts fading into obscurity. As she looked out at the faces around her friends, fellow shelter residents, strangers turned family, she realized they had become a collective force. "It's not over yet," Emma said, her voice steady as she stood before them, feeling their support strengthen her resolve. "We fight for the shelter, for our community. Let us show everyone that we have heart, and we deserve to be heard." The rallying applause was deafening, filled with promises of unity and courage. Through the storm outside, they found the power to stand tall, bound by dreams and a fierce love for one another. Together, they would face whatever came next. The concert became more than a performance. It became a declaration. The energy pulsed through them, igniting plans for fundraisers, outreach and awareness. A fire to be fed with every note played, every determination voiced. Emma knew they would rise above this challenge together as the night continued. Laughter and music blended into a symphony of resilience, and Emma finally felt a peace settle deep within her heart. She may have started as that homeless girl, but tonight, she was much more. She was a spark, a voice, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next with her newfound family at her side. This was transformation. This was hope. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.